In this video, I'm going to show you 5 engaging rhythm activities that you can use in your music classroom tomorrow. Hi, my name is Jooya from Jooya Teaching Resources, and I'm a music teacher with about 20-something years experience. In this video, I'm going to be showing you 5 engaging rhythm activities that you can use in your classroom tomorrow. They're that easy to do. Okay, these activities are really fun and will keep your students engaged and learning. So without further ado, let me not scare my screen. Oh, I know it's nearly Halloween, but let's share my screen and let's get this started. So I said 5 really simple rhythm activities that we can do. You can actually do them tomorrow, like if you want to. It's really easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So I said, welcome. I'm going to show you those 5 activities that you can do for teaching rhythm. And I'll give you some suggested resources to use so that you are not left in the lurch going, oh, how am I going to do this? So don't worry, I've got you covered. So the first one is a really, really simple one. It's a clapping game. Now, honestly, this is the best thing that you can do is firstly start with clapping games. Now, as a music teacher, it's really frustrating for me because my darling husband, which we've been married for nearly 30 years in a couple of weeks, he cannot clap a beat. And as a music teacher, that is one of the most frustrating things for me ever. And if we're out somewhere and we're trying to dance, it might be a wedding or something, and, muck around, he can't keep a beat, and it's just so frustrating. So maybe if he played these games when he was younger, he might know what he's doing. But this is a really fun one, which is stomp, stomp, clap, snap. Now, some kids can't snap, okay? My fingers aren't snapping very well at the moment. So it might be just that sort of thing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be a particular sound, okay? As long as they're doing something, that's fine. So again, it's just stomp, stomp, clap, stomp, stomp, okay? Keeping it in beat. Now, I would suggest you do this just as a class group, standing in a circle, 1, 2, 3, 4, and just keep them going. Then make it a bit harder and start playing some music with it. So I'd be changing, start with some music that might have a really simple, nice, even tempo for them. Then change the tempo. So In the Hall of a Mountain King is a fantastic one because it starts quite slow and it gets quicker, and it's going to be really interesting to see how coordinated they are. Another one, which is a good old 80s song, which is shows my age, but is good old Come On Eileen from Dexy's Midnight Runners or something they were. But you know the song. Anyway, in the middle of the song, it goes from the nice even tempo, it slows right down, gets faster and faster and faster in a nice little accelerando, and then it goes back to the original tempo. So that's a really, really good one. So stomp, stomp, clap, snap, okay? Right. Next one, another clapping game, echo clap. Now this one, again, as I would do this as a whole class. So it could be, just start them nice and simple. And look, well, a lot of primary school teachers do this as a way to get an attention, the old da, 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 and then the class has to clap it back. But this is sort of based on the same idea, but I would suggest that you start with nice, simple, even rhythms and then build them up, build them up, build them up. And then if you want to, you can break the kids off into smaller groups, okay, depending on the class size, and they could do their own little clapping games. You could have a master percussionist, which is the person who's leading it, and you could change that around, and it's just sort of okay, swap, different leader, and then they see if they can trick each other and how complicated they can get. You could even add, instead of just clapping, it could be actions that they do. So just keeping it in that 4-beat sort of thing there. It's up to you how you want to do it, but just get the kids moving, get them excited about music and making some music together. Okay, this one is another good one, but call and response. Now, I would suggest you do this one after you've played the echo game, and then you move them onto some percussion instruments. Now, a few ways you can do this, but one of my favorite ways is to say, okay, break them into small groups, okay? Do this as a class though. So you might say have a group of tambourines, a group of claves or tapping sticks, and then you might have a group of shakers, okay, maybe triangles, doesn't matter. Sorry, my cat's being annoying. And you might go, okay, now when I clap this rhythm, okay, this is the rhythm for the tambourines. This is the rhythm for the clave. This is the rhythm for the shakers. And clap the rhythm and see if the right group responds. Okay, so it's a good way. And then I would swap the kids on the instruments, and maybe I'd have the I would suggest you actually have the rhythms displayed. Okay, however you want to do that notation is up to you, but have it displayed, and this is, you know, for the instruments, but get the kids to swap instruments. Now the best thing about that is if you make the kids leave the instruments where they are and get them to move to an instrument. That way they have to, it's again that movement in the classroom, keeping them going, keep them engaged, keeping the lesson moving quickly. It stops a lot of those other problems. So you know, trying to keep it as I said, fun and engaging and moving along, and you don't have as many other like behavior type problems. Next one. All right. Building on from what I was just talking about is this rhythm composition grid. Now, this is a freebie over in my store. It is fresh, hot off the press, so to speak, because I only put it in there this afternoon because I forgot about this one. I used to do this one a long time ago. Now, there are two versions. Now, you can see here that this one's actually got some simple rhythms at the top, which we've got, you know, quarter note, eighth notes, and rest. But you don't have to use notation. Now, there's another sheet in there that actually doesn't have that part at all. It's just a blank grid. Now, the thing is with this 4x4 rhythm grid, do this as a class, okay? Put the 4x4 grid up on the board, and let's do this simply. So you might want to put in, you know, a dot for a single beat, 2 dots for the pair of quavers, and then a wiggly line for the rest. And you can come up with the whole rhythms. Now, the whole idea about this is you don't just play the rhythms left to right. You can go forwards, you can go backwards, you can read them horizontally, you can read them vertically, and even diagonally. Okay, it's really hard to do, and we don't go backwards here. Diagonally, getting them just used to playing different rhythms, okay, and doing different things. And you could even get them playing different rhythms. Again, break up the class into different groups, even with different instruments. And you're, you know, group 1, 2, 3, 4. You can have 5, 6, you know, and it could be vertical. You can make so many different ways of doing this and getting them moving and getting them playing and whatever else. Now, the best thing about this, after you've done this as a composition, as a class, okay, I would suggest, okay, obviously you play those rhythms together. I would suggest that you actually get them to break into small groups and do this together, do this in small groups on their own. So they've then, again, also got to compose their own little grid and then perform it. Now, what I used to do many, many years ago was used to use tea and coffee. So you don't have to use, as I said, traditional notation. You might want to use graphic notation, whether it be dots or circles or squares, whatever you want to do. I don't have to use sticks, whatever. But I used to do tea for coffee, tea for tea, and a C for coffee. And a T was obviously your single beat, your quarter notes, and then coffee was your eighth notes, and then we'd go hot. So say I went tea, tea, coffee, hot. So tea, coffee, tea, coffee, hot, and we'd repeat the rhythms. And then coffee, tea, tea, hot, or whatever it happens to be. Again, just getting the idea of you know, a single sound and a double sound, okay, in terms of what's actually happening in each of those boxes, so that each one is a beat. Again, if you want to make it into something that's related to what we're doing at the moment, which might be Halloween, it might be bones, spooky, ghost might be quiet. Okay, so spooky, bones, ghost, spooky, yeah, whatever. Okay, I'm making this up as I go, and I'm not doing a very good job. You get the idea. Now, the other thing with these ones, I said this is a nice little freebie. Okay, I would laminate these. Don't print one for each one unless you're doing an assessment and you want to actually mark them. But I would actually laminate these and then give the kids whiteboard markers and then wipe it off at the end of the lesson. So then you can actually reuse those sheets multiple times for different activities. They become very, very, very handy for all sorts of different things for notation in the classroom. And it's a good introduction to it. It's composing, it's performing, it's all sorts of wonderful things. So write your own rhythms is another activity. And the last one, which is one of my favorite ones, is make your own instrument. Now, you get the kids to actually make their own instrument and then you perform rhythms on it. Now, the best thing is I used to do this when I was doing my instruments in the orchestra unit. Don't know why the dog's barking. Anyway, instruments of the orchestra unit, because we would be talking about instrument classifications and methods of sound production, all that sort of stuff. But you could do this obviously in the class, have recycle stuff, whatever's actually in the classroom, whatever you bring in, tins, bottles, rice, caps, whatever. It makes all sorts of interesting sounds. And again, get them to actually not only make their instrument, but perform on it. And that's the trick. Now, when I did this assignment, the caveat was that they had to perform on their instrument for 30 seconds. Now, I can guarantee you 30 seconds is a very long time when you're just shaking a shaker. Okay, you've got to come up with something. So it sort of pushed the kids to do something a little bit more interesting. The other thing is put some rules on it. And I'm laughing because I've done this assignment for many years. And we used to have, I never thought I'd have to say this, but we had kids, I'm not kidding, one year we did the assignment. It was due sort of just before the end of term, and then we come back after term and didn't have time to actually mark them all. And one kid, we couldn't understand what the smell was in the staff room. What is that smell? Couldn't work out where it was coming from. Then we realized one kid had made a guitar using a pumpkin, and the pumpkin had gone rotten. And it was like, okay, kids, no things that, like, no food. You can't make anything using food. We learnt by our mistakes. I'm sorry. It was funny because it took us a long time to work out why the staff room was stinking. Okay. All right. So let's do some resources. So as I said, there's the freebie in my store. Okay, the free rhythm activity composition worksheet. There's only 2 sheets in it. It's not a big one, but it is very, very useful. Okay. The other one is the make an instrument assessment. Everything's in there. So the task description, what you want them to do, there's a couple of marking rubrics in there as well that you can use, or start and develop your own. It's up to you how you do that. And if you want to use some rhythm flashcards with maybe the echo clapping, or even with your composition grid, these rhythm flashcards are fantastic. There's lots and lots of different rhythms, and they build on each other. So it's building from really simple rhythms to more complex as you go. I said I didn't talk about that today, but that's one thing you could do. And obviously you could do that in your composition grid. Once you actually reintroduce different notes, the whole idea is, like, if you were doing ta ticka ticka ta, be a good way to actually get the kids to actually put that into the grid and make them clap it as well. So again, that connection and making sure that they're actually understanding what you're not only talking about in class, but actually performing it as well. Much easier for the kids to get that, make those connections for themselves. As I said, there's stacks of things over in my Teachers Pay Teacher store. That freebie, go and get it for yourself. If you'd like to have yourself another freebie, which is the Elements of Music mind maps, which we haven't talked about today, go and have a look at them. You can grab yourself a set by typing in that jooya.com/free mind maps. And also there's plenty of free information over my blog, plus plenty of other teaching ideas for you to help you not only teach rhythm, but other things in the classroom. There's so many things I've got there for you. So thank you for watching us. I'll stop the share. And again, thank you so much for watching. I said 5 activities that will keep you going for teaching rhythm. Start with the beat, start with something simple, build on it, get the kids actually composing with it, and then get them kids actually doing their own rhythms on their own instruments. Makes it really interesting for them. Okay, so until next time, I'm Jooya from Jooya Teaching Resources, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.